I seriously don't even know why the gay community still has this top and bottom thing going on. Let's just all be versed. Let's just all be versed and, fuck.
Some people like to drink milk. Some people like to drink almond milk. What do I like to drink? Well, come.
Did I lie? Did I lie? Did I fucking lie?
Miss Honey. Miss Honey.
How y'all doing, bitches? Welcome to another brand new episode of the Chris Avalon Show.
Unfiltered.
Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Hey, y'all. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and yes, another week gone by. Happy Saturday to all those of you who are watching this live broadcast, and for those who are going to be watching it after it's live when it's recorded and settled into the YouTube and all that good stuff. Welcome. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Avalon. If you're here for the first time, welcome as well. Basically, this is a 2-hour podcast show, all the trending hot topics, plus some LGBT news, things of that nature that's going on in the LGBTQ, LMNOP community that other people aren't talking about. So I just bring it here and we're just going to discuss it. It's going to entertainment, politics, you name it, we talk about it. So anyway, welcome. Be sure to follow the good stuff down here at the Chris Avalon. That's all my social media platforms. It's my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok, you name it, is all there. Also, hashtag KA Unfiltered and other good stuff. And also, I want to say thank you for those of you who watch and who send me stuff. So that way, y'all be helping me with the homework, because a lot of times I'll miss things and I can't get to it all. So I do appreciate a lot of my watchers and who I like to call my friends for helping me out with, because y'all definitely helped me out with that whole Beyoncé thing. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But so yeah, we got a lot on the docket today. We talking about Wendy Williams. Yeah, she's in the news again because her husband is talking. So it's like, I know I be saying I'm tired of talking about this lady, but it's always some tea coming out every week. So I can't deny it. When there's some stuff coming out, we gotta talk about it. Also, we're gonna talk about Keke Palmer versus Zendaya. We're gonna talk about Nene Leakes and this lawsuit. She's got a book she's talking about she got coming out. Also, she's got a surprise witness. Ain't that much of a surprise if you know about it, that she's going to include in her upcoming case against Bravo and Andy Cohen. And it's somebody who also has a beef with Andy himself, and spill some tea that I've been knew about for years, but she wouldn't spill it and y'all just heard about it. But yeah, she's a former Bravo celebrity who is, spilling some tea and is gonna be a surprise witness or a witness in the case. Also, we got some more mess on R. Kelly. The VMAs made their announcements and a whole lot more. But without further ado, or I should say, without further ado, let's get into these topics, because I don't want to keep y'all waiting any longer. The first topic I want to talk about is Black Panther. So, shortly after we had just finished last week's episode, I didn't even know this was gonna happen. Well, I was going back and forth. I was pretty much exhausted last week, because the whole weekend I spent just putting out a lot of news and regarding to Comic-Con, like everything that was going on with Comic-Con that I thought was relatively interesting to me, that I felt like a lot of people needed to know about. A lot of the TV shows, a lot of movies, a lot of the panels, particularly the DC panel and the Marvel panel, all happened within the same day, which was Saturday. Let me bring this down a little bit. So when that had happened, when the show ended, the Wakanda Forever trailer popped on, and I had no idea this was going to happen, even though I should have known, because the Marvel panel, they're going to have to show the Black Panther trailer, because the movie comes out later this year, November. So I watched the trailer the first time, but I think in my mind, I was just so excited just to see this trailer that it really didn't take it in at first, because I was like, oh my God, I'm so curious. I didn't know anything about the film. What are they going to do with the film in regards to, because Chadwick Boseman is no longer with us. So I was like, let me watch the trailer, and I watched it, and I didn't really feel much right there. Like, I was overwhelmed with emotion, and I was like, I got goosebumps, of course. And then I watched it, and then I was like, I just put it away, and that was it. The next day I woke up, and I was like, let me watch this trailer again. Chuck, and I tell you, I bawled like a baby. Like I literally cried watching that trailer because it was just like so overwhelmed with emotion. And I know a lot of people were kind of divided. While people loved the trailer, and I heard that trailer blew up through the roof. Like a lot of people watched it. So I think this is one of the big. I don't know the statistics in regards of how the trailer was, but I did hear that it did really big on social media. Like it broke records. Y'all can Google it to find out how many it did, like how many people watched it. But I find it interesting that people are talking about how they're not liking the direction the movie's going in. And I like the fact that they have Namor and they're going to have that whole Aztec Latin culture side that's coming in with Namor. I love that. So I love the fact that culture is coming in here, that Wakanda's opening its world to showing other cultures and maybe just banking on white people. White people, I love y'all, but y'all got enough shows, movies, things about y'all. So I love the idea that where Black Panther Wakanda Forever is going with this story. And I'm loving the fact that we're seeing like these the Mexican community finally getting their representation and getting to understand the lore of, you know, all the different inspirations and influences that are going to be put into this film, especially talking about their whole culture. And then I did hear that they're not going to be calling it Atlantis. I think it's Telecon or whatever the case is. I didn't write it down. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. I remember somebody did me out the historical context of it. I'm just going to have to pull it up and look it up another time. But what I did love is the fact that it's just that full representation. Now, the thing that I do find that is weird to me is that people are upset because they feel that it's possible that because it kind of, excuse me, implies that Black Panther T'Challa is dead and that someone is going to take over and they believe it's going to be a woman. So they're thinking it's either going to be Shuri, which would be following the comics because Shuri does become Black Panther. I did like the fact that we also got to see Riri Williams, who later becomes Ironheart, you know, who is a version of the Black girl version of Iron Man. She's going to be getting her own show down the road. They did mention that at Comic-Con as well. So I like that she's getting that introduction. So they're thinking that it might be Okoye or it might be Shuri. If it's either or, that's fine. Because I'm like, if Ayo takes over as like takes over. Oh my God, I'm forgetting names, child. If Ayo winds up taking over Denai Guerrera's part, you know, as being the leader of the Dora Milaje, I wouldn't be mad at that because I loved Ayo when she was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I love when she was in that for the brief, you know, time she was in that show. So if she was to do that, and then we don't have my girl from The Walking Dead, and she kind of takes over to become Black Panther, or if Shuri becomes Black Panther, I'm cool with it. But apparently a lot of people are not okay with the fact of a woman being Black Panther. Misogyny much. So it's at the point where people are talking about they want Marvel to recast T'Challa, even starting a whole hashtag with it. So now, following the San Diego Comic-Con premiere of the first Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, fans quickly began using the hashtag recast T'Challa to express their displeasure at Marvel Studio choosing to kill off T'Challa Black Panther instead of recasting the character with a different Black actor. Chadwick Boseman, as you know, played T'Challa in 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe films, beginning with 2016's Captain America Civil War. He also appeared in Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, and voiced variants of the character in multiple episodes of the Disney Plus animated series What If. Now, in 2021, as you all know, he passed away in 2020 after a lengthy battle with colon cancer. Now, although Marvel Studios didn't reveal their immediate plans for T'Challa following Boseman's death, the company behind the November 2021 confirmed, in November 2021 that T'Challa would not be recast in the MCU. So my thing is this: I trust Ryan Coogler and that whole team in what they're doing in regards of how they're going to move the story forward. Everything is not going to be canon. Everything is not going to follow the comics to a T. I remember somebody made a whole comment on social media, and it wasn't a friend of mine. It was just, I was responding to when I have friends and when they write stuff as well. And then the people they know respond in the comments and will say, I wanted to see T'Challa get with Storm, and I want to see that whole story play out. And I'm like, well, who says when exactly the X-Men is going to be in the cinematic universe? So you're trying to basically try to act like you doing Kevin Feige's job. You don't even know. And then on top of that, they said that that X-Men, the contracts for the actors who did it in the other films, those contracts are up in 2025. So you're willing to wait a couple of years in, and then even when the 25 thing is up, you have to start looking for new actors to come in. You got to make sure you have a script. You got to make sure you got a director. You got to start. There's a whole process that goes into that. So it may take another, 7 to 10 years before they can even get that off the ground. And who says that they're going to be incorporated in phase 6 or whatever the next phase is going to be? Like, we don't know what Kevin Feige and the rest of the team have in store. So my thing is, let these people do what they do. This is what they get paid to do. I trust Ryan Coogler. I am a fan of his. I've loved him since Fruitvale Station and all the other films. I trust him enough where I'm going to let him do to do, and whatever the decision that he's made, I trust that they made the right decision. And I'm going to be upset over the fact that they didn't recast Chadwick Boseman, then that's fine. Don't go see the fucking movie. It's that simple. And on top of that, we all know how y'all are. It's a lose-lose situation. It's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because if they did cast Black Panther with another actor, if they would have picked Tyrese, if they would have picked Kofi Cerebro or Idris Elba or somebody, y'all would have been mad. Y'all would have not, I don't think he's a good choice. I can hear y'all now. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. So like I said, I trust in what they're doing over there, and I can't wait to see the movie when it comes out in November, because I will be there opening night, and I'm going to get me more than one ticket and watch it more than once. But that's only depending on if I can tolerate being in movies long enough. I want to deal with the people and their bullshit, because when I go to the movies sometimes, people be doing too much. So shout out to the people of Black Panther. And another thing I want to point out before we move on, these people were connected, like the actors, the crew, all these other people that worked on this film, Ryan Coogler, they have a deep connection to Chadwick Boseman. So I feel like this movie is just a way to honor him and then move the story forward, because that's all you can do at this point. Okay, so let's get into this whole Beyonce situation. So, Renaissance came out yesterday. Well, technically it came out on Wednesday because it leaked. Some people had vinyl. I know a friend of mine has a vinyl. Some people had the CD. A lot of it was delivered a little early because it was, I think it got delivered to people's houses before the actual day. And then, of course, it came out in Europe early as well. So, was being the noble person that I am, and I actually waited till yesterday to listen to the album. I actually got up at 6 a.m, took a shower because I had to get to work and stuff. And then when I was done and everything, I literally sat and I listened to the album. The album was like a good hour. And I actually have to say, I liked it. I thought for Beyonce, this was the most ambitious and most creative record that I feel like she's done. I know this album has divided a lot of people online. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. Some people say, I do like the idea that people said that them being into, like, they weren't never into like house music and that sort of thing, but listen to this album made them like the genre. And I love the fact that Beyonce is paying homage to a lot of the gay icons that came before her, including her uncle, who was her mother's nephew, who introduced her to like ballroom culture and fashion and a whole bunch of other things, as typical gay men do. But I love the fact that, because I had to take some notes, child. So, I love the fact that she, embodied garage house, Chicago house, disco, 90s dance. Like, there was some Afro beats thrown up in there. There was a little bit of R&B with some pop. I did love, actually went a little gospel with Church Girl, but Church Girl was like the oxymoron. It was more ratchet church music, and pointing out the hypocrisy of the church and all that other stuff. Why y'all look down on people. I wasn't expecting it to like be this deep message sort of thing. The album was supposed to be in the body of, listen to this, let's have a good time. It was a lot of sampling and stuff going on in there, but I understand like she was using a lot of that as reference. But It did feel fresh. It did feel fun. It did feel a little new. But is it going to reinvent the wheel and move dance music forward into the future? No, but I thoroughly enjoyed the record. A lot of my favorite tracks, I love Cozy, which T.S. Madison is on, by the way. Shout out to her. And I heard that how she found out. She actually was approached a while back. Somebody wanted to use her likeness or whatever, a phrase or something that she said, and she signed off on it. And then within the last few weeks of when the album was going to be released, she got sent some paperwork, and she filled it out, and she was like, well, she sent it to her attorney, had no idea who the people were that was hitting her up, because they were being very top secret. But then the attorney told her it was Parkwood, and it was like, that's Beyonce. And of course, immediately she signed off on that. Alien Superstar, loved that track because I'm a huge Green Velvet fan, and it was giving me that. And Green Velvet, is hugely inspired by Prince. So it's like Prince with a lot of that electro, hip hop, R&B. Someone check on Kaya. Oh, that girl still in the basement somewhere. Alien Superstar, I actually love that song. Oh yeah, and Cozy was because I also, I'm a huge fan of Honey Dijon, Black trans DJ, very well known within the house music community. She's been around for a million years. So I love the fact that she's giving a lot of the underground Black dance music people their due. I loved Cuff It, which made me want to pull out my roller skates. Like I said, Church Girl was like that Snap My Neck track. Like you were expecting like, some Keke Sheard or some Mary Mary type stuff. Beyonce got ratchet with it. Virgo's Groove, of course, because those are my people. Shout out to the Virgos. Our season is coming. Let the Leos have a moment. Heated, I always had that song, basically on repeat. All Up in Your Mind, Summer Renaissance, and of course, I love my Pure Honey track. And we have to talk about Pure Honey because we talked about it last week. Juan Renee was on the track. But what I didn't know until 2 days ago when I got put on and I saw the name Eric Sneed up in the credit, I was like, wait a minute. Kevin Aviance is on this track too? Because yes, that's Kevin's real name. It's Eric Sneed. And what gagged me, and I did write about it on chrisavalon.com, but we're going to talk about it a little bit here. So Kevin Aviance did speak out. He was Variety reached out to him, and I think he also did a story with the New York Post. They hit him up as well, and basically they sampled, because not only do they sample Miss Honey by Juan Renee, but she also sampled his song Cunty. Everybody trying to leave it out of her, but Cunty in our community basically means fierce, like you feeling yourself, like you look fabulous, you look over. That's basically what Cunty means. So the story was basically New York City nightlife and drag queen legend Kevin Aviance says he did not know Beyonce sampled his song Cunty on her new album Renaissance until a friend reached out to him late Thursday night, saying, she sent me the track and the credits and said, what is this? Aviance told me, as in the reporter on Variety, Friday afternoon, and then my phone was blowing up. I couldn't believe it. Aviance's vocals from his 1996 dance hit can be heard at the top of Pure Honey, track 15 on Beyonce's much-anticipated album. When he finally listened to the song, Aviance said, I felt seen, adding, excuse me, it has been a very emotional day. Now, for those of you who do not know, Cunty was inspired by queer kids hanging out at the Christopher Street Pier almost 30 years ago, which, if you know, every queer kid of color from New York, that's basically was our stomping ground. We went down to the piers and we hung out with our own kind and basically hung out there. If we had no money, it was a little crazy. Things, shenanigans was always going on down there. But you would go and hang out at the piers, and if you were old enough, you went to Chi-Chi's and Two Potato. Those were the Black establishments. The Hangar is still around. They still have a couple of establishments still there, but I always went to Chi-Chi's and Two Potato. They had all the cute Black boys and Spanish boys up in there. So that's why my ass was. But anyway, he says, okay, so they said they were looking in pieces of broken mirror saying, I look so cunty. Aviance recall, but it's not in a bad way. Most people hear the C word and think it's something negative and just talking about a woman's private parts. My cunty isn't that. It's about power. So there you go. Big Frida's also on the album as well. And I already mentioned Honey D. John and Mom Renee and all that other stuff. But Uncle Johnny was Beyonce's uncle's name. So getting to see Kevin Aviance, being grateful. Now I'm wondering if he got paid, because I know T.S. Madison got paid. I know a lot of other people got paid. But I do wonder if I wonder if Kevin Aviance got paid, because he is a writer on a lot of his music. I remember when that album Box of Chocolates came out a million years ago, and I bought it. I know Wave Records is not around anymore. I actually went and I bought that album at where did I get it from? Oh, I got it from the Virgin Megastore. That's where I got it from. And I was like, that gagged me, because it was like the Virgin Megastore was the spot. Like, it sold everything. And that's what I loved about living in New York and growing up in New York and living in New York, is the fact that New York was just so full of, like, you can go to you would never think that a store like Virgin Megastore, which was supposed to be this mainstream spot, would just sell. Like, they didn't just sell mainstream stuff, they sold underground stuff. So a lot of times I went in there and I bought all my maxi singles. So my Madonna maxi singles I got from there, my Cher maxi singles, any dance artist or whatever that was dropping a maxi single with a bunch of remixes on it, I was in there buying them. Especially an import. Like, the imports was the more expensive stuff. That's actually where I got Kelis's Wonderland album. And I'm going to get into Kelis in a second. But that's where I got Kelis's Wonderland, because that was the only place that was selling it. You could not buy that album nowhere else, because it wasn't released in the United States. Wonderland was her sophomore album. The one she's saying that she don't get paid from because of Pharrell and Chad trifling asses. We don't get into that in a second. But overall, I love the fact that so many of our people from our community are getting a shine. How she references Pepper LaBeija in her fashion, especially the gold piece that y'all saw. I have all the pictures and stuff on my Instagram, my Facebook. So I love how she's taken from drag culture. She's taken from some of these other things. And people call her a copycat, but mainstream artists, that's what they do. Like, they reference and they take from us and they put it into a little thing. So overall, while it's not going to reinvent the wheel, a lot of people are not feeling this album, I like it. Definitely something y'all should check out. Now, one of the people who's not grateful for being sampled on Renaissance is Kelis. So, the Caught Out There singer has called out Beyoncé for theft, claiming that the superstar has no integrity or soul for sampling her song without approval. Now, Beyonce's new album, as you know, was released yesterday. The song in the middle of this situation is track 5 on Renaissance, and it's called Energy, which a lot of people are saying samples Get Along With You from her first album, Kaleidoscope. I listened to it. I don't hear none of that. And then I'm hearing people saying that it's Milkshake. Quiet as it's kept. I don't hear either. I don't hear Milkshake up in there, and I don't hear Get Along With You. Love both songs. Did y'all know that Milkshake was originally meant for Britney, and she turned it down? Robert says, I bought my Kylie Minogue limited edition Fever double disc with some Japan albums from Virgin. I do miss Virgin Megastore. You know what? I actually bought Fever from Virgin too. I bought the import and I bought the American version, because the import always had more tracks on it. American version, they try to cut down the neuter shit because they feel like the American audience isn't going to be able to they think like the American audience isn't as smart as they think they are. I think like this industry overall treats people like they're idiots, particularly in America. And Japan, it was good. I always did that. But for the most part, if you knew, a lot of the Japan stuff would end up on like the singles. So some of those songs that were not on those things will end up on like the singles, the maxi singles and stuff. So I always found a way to get around on that. But anyway, so Kelis is upset about this whole thing. It says she had no idea that her song was being sampled or interpolated. They basically did an interpolation of a la 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 whatever. First of all, I didn't even know that there was that you could a la 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 and a ooh and a ah, that you can copyright that. Isn't that like a Sure, I don't understand this. First of all, the record industry is a piece of shit to begin with. So just know that there's a bunch of crooks up in there. You can't trust nobody on their word. And that's what Kelis was saying, basically, that she makes no money from her first 2 albums, Kaleidoscope and Wonderland, because she has signed a contract. She and Pharrell and them shared a lawyer. And she believed them when they said that, you know what, they were going to write everything together and that they were going to split the proceeds 3 ways. Turns out Pharrell was lying out of his ass, but that's what a lot of them do when you sit and you use the same lawyer for the record label or that's sharing with some big celebrity. They will lie to you and sell you a dream just because, and people believe it, and then they sign their life away, and then they don't make money off of their work. This is why I always tell people, go independent. It's a little harder, but at least you get to own your masters. So I want to let y'all hear this clip of Kelis going off, and then I'll give my on Pharrell and Beyonce and Chad's spineless ass. That's what she said. Not me. I don't make the news. I just report it. And then we'll come back and talk about the rest of this story. So hold the clip.
One, it's not even like I'm a human being, so I get pissed off and I get ticked off, right? I'm an artist, so I am, as Erica said, I'm sensitive about my shit. The reality is, okay, is that my real beef is not only with Beyonce, because at the end of the day, she sampled a record, she's copied me before, she's done it before, so have many other artists. It's fine. I don't care about that. The issue is that not only are we female artists, okay, black female artists in an industry that there's not that many of us, right? We've met each other, we know each other, we have mutual friends. It's not hard, she can contact, right? Ash Nico, who's what, 20? She's a young white girl. She reached out when she freaking, like, it's just common decency, right? It's common decency, especially because, as so many of you pointed out, as though I don't know, but let me help you, okay? I know what I own and what I don't own. I also know the lies that were told. I also know the things that were stolen. Publishing was stolen. People were swindled out of rights. It happens all the time, especially back then. So it's not about me being mad about Beyonce. Everyone's like, you're all sheep. And I'm talking to the people who are obsessed and blind, just like, oh, like, it's so dumb. It's so ignorant. It's so ignorant. She's one issue because it was stupid and disrespectful and she should have at least reached out. But the real issue is the fact that the people like Pharrell and like Chad, who Chad really isn't going to meet.
Well, she goes on and on and on. Like, there's a whole lot. You can probably go on her Instagram and there's a bunch of other places if you want to hear the whole thing. But she made some valid points, and I feel like, you know what, before everybody's so quick to talk about Kelis is tired, she's irrelevant, she just mad because Beyonce got more money than her, which is the typical surface bullshit that a lot of people say, you know, what sheep will say to make themselves feel like they're making a valid point. And I feel like a lot of people aren't. I feel like Kelis is valid in feeling how she feels because she's been in business for over 20 years and she's been, you know, bamboozled and lied to and had to deal with a bunch of crap and stuff, which I think made her feel like I didn't want to be in the music business no more. So she's off with her culinary career and doing like, what is it, like plant-based foods and whatever happened to that Netflix show she was doing where they was cooking food with cannabis. They didn't bring it, was it cooking with cannabis? They didn't bring that show back. I should like getting some ideas on how you cook with some weed. But for the most part, it's like, we cannot deny, let's give Kelis her flowers. She has been a huge influence in the music industry, like doing that whole black Afro punk type of vibe. That was Kelis back in the day. I remember the first time I saw her on MTV and she came out and did that put out their video, how retro futuristic it was, and I hate you so much, right? I was like, who is this bitch? And I was living for every moment because that was my era. That was my, you know, I'm going through my angst, my little angst phase, and seeing that a person of color is kind of going in that, you know, giving alternative with her vibe and her fashions and her music, and she had this multicolored hair, and I just love that Kaleidoscope album. Wonderland wasn't that great, but the music she did from then on, you know, she's always reinvented herself sonically, visually, always changed her thing with every album, never put out the same album twice. And that's what I loved about Kelis. So we should give her respect and her flowers. On that regard, and how she has influenced a lot of people. She's influenced Rihanna. She's influenced so many of the girls in the business. Oh, did I also mention I love the fact that how I love the fact that Grace Jones actually worked with Beyonce, because Grace Jones don't just work with anybody. She refused to work with Gaga, so that she has there's nothing there, just like an empty vessel. When she met her, she refused to work with she will not work with Rihanna. She won't work with a lot of people in business, but she said yes to Beyonce. And I actually like the song she did with them and was it Thames? But there was this, but I feel like her energy is misplaced. I feel like Kelis should be taking this up with Pharrell and Chad and how they did her dirty, and not necessarily go after Beyonce. Beyonce she went through the proper channels. She went and got her people and her attorneys and all that stuff to clear it with the people who own the masters, the rights, your voice, whatever the case is. That's what she did. And as an artist, that's what I would do as well. I'm not sitting up here calling every damn body. I'm not. I ain't got time. I'm busy trying to put out my own album. But then again, I wouldn't be sitting up here using 50,000 samples like I'm making a Bad Boy album. Speaking of Bad Boy, Diddy, another one who legendary for ripping off his artists, but we ain't talking about that. And everybody thinks Pharrell's supposed to be this Mr. Dirty Backpack click type, very spiritual, Nambyo Rengekyo type of character, but he's probably a snake too. There are a lot of snakes, a lot of demons running around in this music business that will rob you blind if you let them. And deal with your butt if you. But that's a whole other conversation for a whole other show. But I feel like, yes, Kelis, your energy is misguided. I feel like you and the people who basically bamboozled and swindled you and figure out how you get your masters back. Because if Pharrell doesn't write a damn lyric on your record, he should not be making no money from it. He should be making money from the beats, the production. That's where the money should be coming from, not from what you wrote. But there was something that a friend of mine posted on social media. I don't know where he got this from, but I wanted to read it to you guys. Just some deep food for thought, because we should also play devil's advocate on the whole thing with Beyonce as well. Because look, she is not above reproach either. Like, if she does some shit that's scandalous and snakish and shady, she should be called out as well. So I don't know where he got it from. It's an article from I should have asked him, but I just saw it online. I took a screenshot. I was like, let me just read this out because I felt it was deep and something to think. Beehive probably quiet as getting ready for this one, but here we go. It said, do you really think Beyonce is getting controlling composition credit because she's making proportional compositional contributions to her songs? Maybe this is where we have different views, because I don't think she is contributing in proportion to her level of control, and she arranges with her songwriters to get that credit because she is trying to avoid the very thing she has done to Kelis. Because she respects her contributions to the song, even if her main significant contribution is singing and she has the leverage to demand legal control. We both know that Beyonce wouldn't let anyone sample a song she popularized without it having to go through the approval, whether her vocals were on the sample or not. So if she intends to be respectful of other Black artists, especially other Black female singers, she wouldn't have played it this way. It's disrespectful to A, understand that singers don't get credit in any enforceable way. B, use your privilege to leverage gaining that credit for yourself. And C, use the same legal loopholes to not grant other artists what you believe is your due. When D, you know damn well they were exploited by their own and men and the industry in the first place. And Beyonce knows it's disrespectful because she's already been called on this by Etta James. The fact of the matter is that Beyonce is too capitalist to give other artists the same level of respect that she desires without being legally forced. In parentheses, this is clear considering how much art she steals, in parentheses. And that may be legal, but it also makes her an asshole, as is the case with most uber capitalists, and exposes that she only has Black liberation aesthetics, not Black liberation praxis. Praxis, Praxis. So basically what the story is implying is that maybe she should have given Kelis a heads up, even if she knows that Kelis doesn't own the rights and this, that, and the other. The least you could do was like, maybe I should have just given her, girl, I'm about to use an interpolation on one of your songs, this, that, and third. even if you're not going to be getting some type of credit. But then who has the time to be trying to deal and do with all that? But they're saying, like, as an uber capitalist, if the shoe was on the other foot and Beyonce did not write any of her other stuff, you would still want, oh, I got to go through Beyonce to try to get this stuff. But Beyonce gonna make sure that she has credit on something, even if she ain't write the song. Because as a capitalist, as someone with her power and stature, she's able to assert her power and position onto a song, even if she ain't write it. So I'm gonna write a credit. I put a ooh, I put a ooh and ah, something up in there on that. I was like, even if I did like a little riff or I changed a little arrangement here and there, I'm still gonna write his credit and I'm gonna assert my power because I'm using my power to be able to get a piece of that pie, even though I didn't create the piece. So, I mean, the whole Crazy in Love fiasco where it was revealed she just wrote the hook. Well, I mean, even if you write the hook, you can still that's still the credit. You wrote the hook. So you should be able to get a credit for that, but not the whole damn song. But I guess if you get it, just get a percentage. So I don't necessarily know the legalities of what percentages of what everybody else was getting, but overall, we're just going to, at this point, see, okay, so Kelis, now that Beyonce has did an interpolation of whichever song, I don't know if it's Get Along With You or Milkshake, the verdict is still out because it don't sound like either. But what are you going to do now? Are we going to try to fight to get our stuff back? Are we going to go and are we going to try to get our masters? Are we going to try to get our publishing from Pharrell and Chad? Like, what are we doing? Because right now you're just venting a lot on social media, which you have every right to, but does this mean you're going to get your lawyers involved because you've been burned by the record industry and burned by people who you thought you trusted, who helped you launch your career, with your voice and then with the production. And I have to say, like, they created some magic together, and it's unfortunate that it turned out this way, but I'll just keep my eye on this story because I'm sure it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Oh yeah, I did say that. Oh yeah, I did hear that. That Kelis said she going to sue. Now we'll see. So I would definitely keep my story on this as it develops. So let's move on to the next story, and that is Keke Palmer, who there was a story that came out also on Saturday. Saturday was real busy after the show because there was a lot going on. And oh, that's a cute picture. Those are my Virgo sisters right there. Speaking of Virgos, because I went from one Virgo to another, which was Beyonce, and now I got my other Virgo sisters, Keke and Zendaya. So there were some people online who were sitting there, I guess because Nope was the #1 movie and Keke was, living her best life in this film. She was a standout. I talked about that a little bit last week. And people were basically saying how they feel like that Keke would have a bigger career, but they feel like colorism is playing a part in it. But Keke had to shut that shit down real quick. I know some people were on social media talking about, oh, why is she even speaking about it? She should just been quiet. I said, you know what? I really wish people with a social media platform or people who have the ability to just tweet shit, just shut the fuck up. Keke can say whatever the hell she want to say and express how she feels. And so there was a tweet that went out that said that the actresses were both child stars, but their mainstream popularity is very different. And Keke basically shut it down and said, like, there's no colorism up in this shit. That basically, there's no she can't be compared to anybody. So this is what she said. A great example of colorism is to believe I can be compared to anyone. I thought she was older. She's 28. I'm the youngest talk show host ever, the first Black woman to star in her own show on Nickelodeon, and the youngest and first Black Cinderella on Broadway. Palmer also called herself an incomparable talent, adding, "Baby, this is Keke Palmer." The Turn Up with Taylor's alum concluded, "I've been a leading lady since I was 11 years old. I have over 100 plus credits and currently starring in an original screenplay that's the #1 film at the box office, #Nope. I've had a blessed career thus far. I couldn't ask for more, but God continues to surprise me." And what I have to say on that is, I love Keke and I love Zendaya. I love them in their own little different ways. Yeah, Keke has had the True Jackson VP show, which she was the youngest girl to headline her own show. Then Zendaya had her show, which I believe is on the Disney Channel, right? If I'm not mistaken. And she did her own thing. And look, she's executive producer, and she's talking about she's going to direct the next season of Euphoria. She's currently shooting the second half of Dune, which they should have shot that movie together, but Warner, whatever. So yeah, she's currently shooting Dune 2 with Timothée Chalamet and the other, and Austin Butler and a whole bunch of other people. So good on her. So they equally are doing their own little thing and own different. Let's stop comparing black people and always stop trying to throw in colorism as a reason for everything, because you look at Keke's career as not being at the level that you think her career should be at. If Keke is good where she's at with her career, then that's all that matters. Now, if we want to talk about the music industry and how they was treating her music, I think the Impressive Channel did like a really good expose on Keke's music career. Now, if we want to talk about music, that's a whole nother story, because I already told y'all the music industry is trifling as fuck with her trying to put her music out. But I feel like Keke just focus on being a personality, because you have an amazing personality. I love when she hosts stuff. I would love to see her with her very own talk show. I was hoping that they would give her one. I like whenever Keke goes out and shows off her personality. I think she's an amazing actress. I loved her in Nope. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else she's got coming down the pike, as well as Zendaya. So let these girls be great. Let them do what they do and stop being so quick to compare people on stuff, because they don't fit the mold of what you think their success should be. All right, so let's talk about Wendy Williams. Now, Wendy's ex-husband, Kelvin Hunter, is speaking out about his ex-wife, saying that they didn't do any. Oh my God, I lost the story. Please wait, hold on a second. Okay, so yeah, so Wendy's ex-husband said that they refused to help the former talk show host with her addiction. That Deborah Mercury, I guess, was treating her like a damn show pony. Hold on as I pull up the story. Because my computer froze for a second, and then okay, here it is. So recently, Kelvin, Wendy's ex-husband, accused producer Wendy Williams show of refusing to sign off on getting Wendy help to recover from her addiction issues. Now, Kelvin claims Deborah Mercury didn't want to involve themselves in anything that would take Williams away from hosting her talk show. Here's what he said. He said Deborah would not support Wendy's recovery efforts with the family. They would not sign off for anything that would have helped her recovery efforts. The 50-year-old added, they sat in a meeting with her whole family, including her now deceased mom, and would not sign on the recovery efforts that would have helped Wendy get well and live and be sober. They basically said, if you don't stop drinking, you're going to lose the show. Well, easier said than done. But then again, Wendy did say that back in the day when she had the booger sugar addiction and was drinking all this stuff, that she quit cold turkey. Now, as previously reported, Hunter said that his ex-wife's show ended due to the negligence of Wendy's production company when it came to making sure that she was healthy before appearing on the air. He said the show ended because of the negligence of her production company in regards to realizing how severe her health was. And when you're in a situation where you're just busy trying to divide and conquer and remove something instead of focusing on what's really going on. I mean, everybody unfortunately got a chance to see her pass out on national television, and it was just mortifying. And you would think after that happened, they would have put certain things in place in some sort of department to deal with any kind of crisis or any kind of help she may really need. Okay, so I don't know. Well, it's safe to say that when she came out of the sober house before she divorced Hunter, that she still wasn't capable of making all the decisions. She wasn't capable then, but she was hiding it. Now, as we know, the 58-year-old battled a drug and alcohol addiction throughout her career in media. According to reports, she was sober until she relapsed between 2018 through early 2019. She took a break from her purple chair for 2 months, claiming it was to treat her Graves' disease, which we all knew wasn't the truth. Now, in March 2019, she said, "Only Kevin knows this, not my parents, nobody. Nobody knew because I look so glamorous out here. After I finish my appointments, I'm driven by my 24-hour sober coach back to a home that I live in, the tri-state, with a bunch of smelly boys who have become my family." Now, it's unfortunate that, this stuff is still keeps spiraling. It's just crazy how we're still talking about this mess. It is like, at some point, when do all of you take responsibility for everything? Wendy?
See this right here? Look.
Okay.
No, look closely.
Right.
Hold up, please. Hold up. I can't hold it higher. Do you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
Okay, do you see this?
Yes.
I am 100% retired in the Wendy Williams show. And I don't want to be on TV except for guest hosting. Like I love Whoopi Goldberg. I love The View. I love those girls. An hour, 2 hours. Morton and I talked, and I was like, I've got enough money to do something else. And what I've never done, podcasts, which, by the way, podcasts everyone has. But when you're famous, podcasts will make more money for me being famous than doing the Wendy Williams show. So podcast, where will I go? I'm not sure. Europe, the France, wherever I want to go. Also, I know Oz, I know, many people.
I'm wondering if part of the attraction to this is, one, that you can do it from wherever you want, and the schedule is not this daily grind that you had to do with your daytime show. Was that part of the attraction?
Yes.
I say for me, I love doing a podcast too. I like doing all this other stuff, but you got to be of sound in mind to be able to do it. And I just feel like Wendy is not in a place where she should be worrying and concerning herself with doing a podcast. Just get yourself together, get yourself healthy. I don't understand why, Kelvin is bringing all this up. The show is over. We moved on. I know people are just waiting to see Sherry fail. Quiet as it's kept, I feel like Deborah Mercury set Sherry up for failure, the way they handle this whole situation. And to me, it's like, even though Kelvin ain't no good in what he did in the counts of knocking up his mistress and the whole baby situation and all that other mess, I kind of believe him, because the way that Deborah Mercury handled this business, this whole situation of just, well, Wendy's not showing up to work, we got to figure out what we're doing, but you also, the way y'all set everything up, just like, you threw Sherry out there to kind of take the heat while y'all were trying to figure out how to keep this whole situation going. I just feel, at the end of the day, I just feel like all I want to say about this is, Wendy, get your shit together, get your mind right, get yourself right, surround yourself with some good people, fire that damn manager who don't know what the hell he's doing, and lead a podcast alone, because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I feel like if Wendy was of sound in mind, she wouldn't even be trying to entertain no idea of a podcast. Because I remember when she first said that she wasn't for doing a podcast. That was since she wasn't doing one. But she know Dr. Oz, who is trying to basically run for senator of a state he don't even live in. Yeah, we heard about that, child. And I said, if y'all vote for Dr. Oz, y'all bunch of damn fools. Anyway, let's move on. So let's talk about Lanithia Monique Leakes, aka Nene Leakes, who's still going on with this trial or this drama surrounding Bravo and Andy Cohen, accusing them of blacklisting her and a whole bunch of other stuff. So she's saying that she's writing a book that will address the ongoing discrimination lawsuit against Bravo and Andy Cohen. And so She took to Twitter recently to once again speak on the mistreatment she allegedly experienced as an employee of the network. Now, Nene Leakes, who is 54, launched a discrimination lawsuit against Bravo and affiliates, including Andy Cohen, accusing them of fostering a racially toxic work environment. Leakes has been vital to the network's success in reality TV, starring in the unscripted drama series Real Housewives of Atlanta for a total of 10 seasons. After retweeting a few messages of support from who have been supporting Leakes through the lawsuit, the actress tweeted, "Everybody can see what they did to me. Nobody is stupid." And she followed up with, "This treatment has been going on for years." Continuing, the entertainment entrepreneur who says she's been blacklisted, as her Instagram bio wrote, "Just remember, abusers want power over their victims. They want to break you. Most abuse takes behind the closed doors. Hint, this is why you don't know or see everything. In the surface, it looks fine, right?" Now, back in June of this year, it was reported that Leakes was allegedly in talks with Andy and Bravo to potentially settle the suit outside of court. However, it seems things may have come to a standstill. Now, the TV personality accused Andy of getting her blacklisted after she called them out for racist behavior. A large part of the accusations include actions by her fellow Roa castmate Kim Zolciak Bierman, who Leakes claims made racially charged remarks to her repeatedly with no consequence. Now, I keep being consistent with this in regards of Nene and this whole debacle, because I feel like this is a case of right message, wrong messenger. Now, do I believe that there's some racially insensitive bullshit going on with Bravo? Yes, I do believe it. There have been people who have known to make racist comments. Diana, Kyle Rich's sister, Paris Hilton's mother, basically Kathy Hilton. There was some tea that came out about her using the N-word and stuff when she was on the show. When she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Beverly Hills, when they were filming and stuff. The microaggressions from Garcelle, referring to Garcelle's son. Well, I'm talking about Erica Jane, Erica Jane referring to Garcelle's son when they was talking about, is he married or whatever. Or tell your baby mama I want a threesome. Bitch, he's married to a woman. Black men don't all come with baby mamas. That's a microaggression. When you cussing at somebody's child, that's another thing, because you would have never said that to one of the white kids on the show. You would have never cursed at Dorit's kids, and you would have never cursed at Portia. Trust and believe. And yeah, over the years, we've look, there's been stories that have come out about Ramona, and y'all continue to let stuff that them women do on that show slide. Then there was a story that was coming out where y'all didn't even pay for the photo shoots of the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast, and Married to Medicine had to go and do their own photo shoots. So all the black shows pretty much out here just styling their own stuff. So do I think that there is any kind of racial discrimination going on at Bravo? Yes, I wholeheartedly believe it. How is that the one white girl that was on the all black show gets a spinoff that lasted years, and I didn't even know anybody that was watching Don't Be Tardy. I tried getting that shit. That show was a piece of shit. But of course, because it's Bravo, they love the white woman with the synthetic wigs. Y'all let her keep that show. So I do think there was some bias in that. But also, I think that Nene was dropping the ball and thinking that she was just going to be the queen of Real Housewives of Atlanta and didn't really need to work hard to make sure that she could get things going for her. Because with the success of the Real Housewives, why weren't you like really pushing to make that kick down the doors of Hollywood? Like, you were the Hollywood darling. I would have tried to do a whole reality show where Nene goes to Hollywood. That should have been a little spinoff. When you going on auditions, or you trying to brand yourself, or you trying to come out with ideas and this and the other, it would have been a cute show. But I felt like Nene was just so comfortable trying to be loyal to the Real Housewives of Atlanta and being the queen bee of that show. And there were times when she was being a bully and this and the other. But then again, when she didn't play the game anymore, because Andy and them let her get away with murder, when she stopped playing along and she stopped doing what the people behind the scenes wanted her to do, then she became a problem. Then she got to go. So I saw the stuff as it was playing out. I got eyes, I watch. So it ain't about what you don't see. it's, you know, you could put the little, you know, if there's enough crumbs lying around, you can stitch it all together and make a gumbo. So while I'm with you, Nene, I don't see you winning this case. But then again, I mean, she able to write the book, and the book comes out and it's got a lot of juicy tea up in there that's exposing Andy Cohen nasty fucking trifling ass. I'm gonna definitely read it, but then knowing the blogs and all the other stuff, y'all already gonna put all the highlights in there, which is gonna prevent us from reading the book. But I'll get the book anyway and read about it. Now, but then again, with this case is starting to heat up and be a little interesting, because the word on the curb is that Nene Leakes is trying to get Kathy Griffin to become a witness in her discrimination lawsuit against Bravo. Now, according to Radar Online, Real Housewives of Atlanta veteran Nene Leakes is pulling out all the stops necessary to help her win her discrimination lawsuit. The TV personality is reportedly working towards teaming up with one of Bravo's heavy hitters, reality star Kathy Griffin, who is 61. Now, Leakes filed a discrimination lawsuit in an Atlanta court over claims that she suffered years of racist remarks from former castmate Kim Zolciak-Biermann, who is white. And like I said, I never understood why out of a whole black cast, you was like, oh, yeah, let's put a white girl on the show. Because in my opinion, I felt like typical networks, if you do an all-black show, the people who you basically feel like you cater your demographic, your show to, which is white people won't get this. So we need to throw a white girl up in there so that way they may get them to watch. But we all know white people are notorious for stealing, you know, our shit. Y'all steal our music, you steal our culture, you steal our fashions, you steal everything. But so we don't need a white person on the show to get y'all to watch. Y'all love to watch. You love our rhythm, but never our blues. But anyway, so Leakes claims her co-star made racially charged remarks to her repeatedly with no consequence, and accuses Bravo, NBC, Universal, and host Andy Cohen of fostering a racially toxic work environment. A judge granted both sides until August 19th to negotiate the dispute outside of court. A source connected to the lawsuit stated Kathy was one of the first ever stars of Bravo. The Insider went and said, long before The Real Housewives, Kathy had her own hit show on Bravo. My Life on the D-List put Andy Cohen on the map at a time when the network was basically still a startup. The source added, Kathy knows everything about Bravo and Andy. She was there from day one and saw how the machine operates. Nene knows that. So in addition, sources are saying that celebrities associated with the network are refusing to help Leakes. The source noted that if Kathy agrees to be a witness, then the floodgates will open up. Well, and I'm hoping she says yeah, because I would love for this shit to come out. The floodgates, the Pandora's box. I'd be here for my nosy behind, and for grist for the mill. I definitely want to know. I definitely want to have my ears to the street. Look, Kathy was the one that revealed that Andy Cohen offered her some booger sugar. And I told y'all long before Kathy Griffin made that revelation, I told y'all stories about Andy Cohen on the Chris Avalon show. Go back to the archives. It's there. I know things. I know people. I know people have been around Mr. Cohen or has partied with Mr. Cohen and has done some things with Mr. Cohen. So I know some tea. Trust and believe. How you doing, Andy? Anyway. So let's talk about The View, because child, I am for this damn show. So apparently there was a story that came out this week. I believe it was from, I'm not sure if it was from The Hollywood Reporter or Deadline, that revealed that Alyssa Farah Griffin is in talks of being the permanent 5th co-host on The View. Fuck Anna Navarro's drag, right? Like, how many times everybody have said they want Anna Navarro and they will not put her on this show? Brian Taylor don't give a fuck what y'all gotta say. Him and that 55-inch waist. He don't care what y'all gotta say. I guess that was a read, because I don't particularly care for him. Now, producers clearly love what Alyssa Farrah Griffin for what she brings to the View, but they're saying that they love that she doesn't bring toxic drama. So they're basically saying in so many words, they did not want another Nutmeg McCain. Now, on Tuesday, all fingers pointed to Griffin as the new co-host to join Whoopi, Joy, Sarah, Sunny, and Anna Navarro at the table. A spokesperson was coy about the decision, telling us we do not have a co-host announcement to make at this time, but insiders are saying that Griffin is a favorite among the other hosts and ABC brass, saying that Alyssa has a lot of fans at ABC and ABC News president Kim Godwin likes her. Griffin was one of several rotating co-hosts who filled in this season after McCain's on toward exit from the show last summer. Personally speaking, I would have loved to have had a revolving door of conservatives coming in. Like, I would have loved that they would have kept that going instead of a permanent girl at the table. But I want to give you all a little inside look at who Alyssa Farrah Griffin really is, because the fans don't want her there. A lot of the people say if Alyssa is picked, they're boycotting the show, they're no longer watching. A lot of people do not like her. And in my opinion, I feel that Alyssa is worse than Nutmeg McCain. Not because, okay, yeah, she's gonna be in the office, she's a team player and she's willing to work with others. And yeah, that may be the whole thing on the outside. Nutmeg was unhinged. Nutmeg was unpredictable. There's a reason why I'm calling her Nutmeg, because the bitch was crazy. You know, when you don't have no legitimate talent to speak of except your connection being your father, being a politician who ran for president against Obama and lost, and the vice president was gonna be Sarah Palin. When your only connection is that, and you feel like because your father was this big politician that worked in, Washington, that gives you carte blanche to all the, reading tea leaves in politics. When Nutmeg was a damn joke, it is what it is. But I believe Alyssa is worse. So I want to play this clip of Alyssa, that y'all can get an insight of who this woman is. Because I had to do the research. And last week I did make a little boo-boo. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? That Wanda was in every right to just want to come on the show and have to, you should be able to be around people with different points of view. That's the job of the co-host. Y'all have to sit and mingle with people with different opinions. But as a celebrity where my brand is whatever it is, I don't have to mingle with some crazy lady who sat up and worked for the orange asshole up until, January 6th. And when stuff got too hot, when the centipede got too hot, according to Reedy Jackson, now I got to separate myself from the shenanigans because crap is about to hit the fan. So let's play this good old clip, and then just to give y'all an insight of who this woman is. Roll the clip. Come on, Twerky. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Ew. Come on, music.
Election is being rigged.
If you don't want a rigged election,
by corrupt media pushing false allegations and outright lies.
Despite the media's at times complicity and not really bringing the facts to the American public.
And then go check out areas.
That we have poll watch.
The election is being rigged.
If you don't want a rigged election,
by corrupt media pushing false allegations and outright lies.
Despite the media's at times complicity and not really bringing the facts to the American public.
And then go check out areas.
That we have poll watchers.
Yeah, so she basically, she's played a lot into the hands. I forgot. Her father is very well. I think her father created some right wing newspaper or something. It's very similar to Nutmeg's husband, who created the Federalist, where they spread a lot of their lies and propaganda. And she basically regurgitated a lot of the crap that Trump was saying. A lot of lies. Was all for it because I guess the check cleared. So my thing is this. If she does get the job, I really do hope that people like Sunny and Joy, because I don't really rely on Sarah to do much of anything, but I really do hope that they'll keep their foot on her neck and remind her, like, okay, just because all of a sudden you've seen the light, don't necessarily mean that you're exempt from, you know, pushing that narrative, putting those shenanigans out there in the ether. So, I don't know. I just feel like, you know what, at the end of the day, The View was all about ratings and controversy. What's number one? The View? I mean, well, look, as long as the ratings is what it is. Oh yeah, did y'all hear that Elizabeth Hasselbeck is coming back next week to co-host? She's talking about pray for her. Child, the ones who need the prayer are the viewers, not you. And that all started with Bill Getty, so I blame him for that shit, because around the time when, you know, they were trying to follow what was going on at the time, so it was like 9/11, and then George W. Bush was in office, and then let's start bringing in that whole political angle. So let's go more political. And that's when they brought in Elizabeth. Well, I did not care for a child. Then it got worse over the years. So The View is going to do what it does. It's going to continue to have those boring, annoying ass celebrity. I mean, you know, these talking heads on there. You know, these crazy. They're always looking for the craziest political person. Anna would get the job if she were a little more controversial with her saying. We love the jokes. We liked all this stuff, but she doesn't go too hard on. Oh, my unfiltered rant is number one. Okay. But yeah. So, girl. I don't know. I wasn't really, I was like, okay, Alyssa's cute or whatever. I didn't really know her history and that stuff until I started doing a little more research, you know, and how much she played into the whole insurrection and all the other stuff that was going on with that. I guess it doesn't matter either way. Like, and didn't she talk shit about ABC at one point? Oh, the lies spread about ABC, and now you vying for a job at the very network that you basically just threw shade at. Did they not see those posts, those videos, and those tweets? But, you know, thank God for the people on the timeline on social media who point these things out and remind you when a lot of you producers don't do your homework. So we'll see if they saw them and if they'll rethink whether or not Alyssa's going to be on the show. Because who would they get? Tara Setmeyer? I don't know. I ain't like none of them. Quiet as kept. But like I said, just keep the door revolving and let them have because they're all not a monolith. So we'll see how it all goes. Now you're giving attention to GOPers and a lot of these crazy people that, you know, they hate the media, but you're giving them a platform. So I don't know. I don't want to keep going on a rant about this damn thing. It's going to have me going around in circles with it. So let's move on and quickly wrap up this show. So R. Kelly's dumbass sisters have apparently said that racism played a role in their brother being sentenced to 30 years in prison after he was found guilty of sexually abusing women, girls, and boys for decades, and also sex trafficking. Now, in an interview with the UK's Good Morning Britain this past Wednesday, R. Kelly's three sisters sat down with the show's North America correspondent Noel Phillips to hear their side of the story. Now, in regards to the singer's racketeering and sex trafficking case, when speaking on the fact that R. Kelly was recently hit with a 30-year prison sentence after being found guilty on the aforementioned charges, the three women each came to Kelly's defense, with Lisa Kelly doing most of the talking. Phillips asked if the sisters could acknowledge the Chicago Crewers victims. I'm not gonna acknowledge something I don't have proof of, replied Lisa Kelly at the 3:38 mark in the video. If there's a victim, I will acknowledge, but from what I've seen in court and from what I've studied and from what I've read, the only victim I've seen that's been stolen from, lied on, is Robert. Chow. If y'all don't go sit y'all dumbasses down out here saying that R. Kelly's the victim, knowing damn well he's not the victim. How's he the victim when he victimized so many other people? Oh wait, he is a victim because one of y'all sexually molested him when he was a child. Yes, remember that? We heard the tea about one of the sisters. I don't know which one, but one of you bitches is guilty. Probably the one that was speaking the most, dealing with his ding-a-ling when he was a baby. So I'm putting it on you. So I don't understand how you out here sitting and talking all this mess. Victim like re-victimizing these women all over again. So everybody's a liar. Like, so we didn't see the video where Sparkle's niece was getting peed on. That's a figment of my imagination. None of us saw that video. There's no evidence. Like, what are you talking about? Now, I will agree that maybe there was some racism that played into his sentencing, because how do you get 10 more years than Ghislaine Maxwell, who probably did 10 times worse in regards of sex trafficking, including murder? I do believe there was some murders that went down and she was a part of. So I do believe that he should have gotten a lesser sentence. Maybe he should have got 20 years. Same amount as Ghislaine Maxwell. He should not have gotten 30. Which I do agree that they tend to give harsher sentences to black people more so than whites. This is a statistical fact. So I do agree on that there may have been some racism. Everything else, you sound dumb as hell. And this is why people believe the way they believe, because y'all going around here spewing these false narratives. So it don't matter what these broads say. Your brother ain't getting out of jail. No matter how many times he tries to repeal, he's just going to do that time because he did the crime. So I guess, because you said our number one thing, and I was going in the order of the thing. So I guess our final topic is the VMAs nominees. So I guess that's 2 and 1. Okay, so the 2022 Emmy VMAs are right around the corner, I should say, and it may be some of your favorite artists' time to shine. Maybe some of y'all's, but not mine. So now on Tuesday, because I'm so out of the loop with MTV and VMAs and pop, I think they are too, because y'all ain't played a music video in 10, 15 years. But I digress. I say this every year when I talk about the VMAs. MTV revealed this year's VMA nomination list, which represents artists whose cultural impact and work over the past year have transformed the music industry per a press release. Kendrick Lamar, Jack Harlow, and Lil Nas X lead the pack with 7 nominations each. Trailing closely behind are Harry Styles and Doja Cat, who served as last year's host. Doja Cat, not Harry Styles, with 6 each, and Billie Eilish, Drake, Dula Peep, as Wendy Williams likes to call her, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, and The Weeknd with 5. Sidebar, since we're in sidebar. Did y'all hear the alleged tea about Harry Styles and Florence Pugh? How apparently the internet sleuths are up in a got their titties in a twist over Florence Pugh not liking or promoting the Don't Worry Darling movie that she did, where Olivia Wilde directed it and Harry Styles plays her husband. Now, y'all already know the tea about Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles, how she was having a full-blown affair on that man while Jason Sudeikis was at home taking care of their 2 kids. And while he was doing, I guess, Ted Lasso or whatever that he was doing over there at the time. I don't know. But there were times when he would come to the set to visit her with the kids, and it was a little awkward because everybody knew what was going on. Them 2 was hunching, and he had no idea. So Florence was the word is she feels a kind of way about the whole thing, where she don't have no respect for Olivia for being messy while making this movie, sleeping with. Okay, now we'll say Harry Styles can get it, but the way they went about it is a little messy, I should say. So this year's award show has several standout moments, including Lamar's first nomination since 2018, Madonna's 69th nomination, damn, and 26 first-time nominees. The first-time nominees include Baby Keem, I don't know what that is, Casey Musgraves, Gail Maniskin, Anita, Becky G, Dove Cameron, Karol G, Itzy, Jid, Mooney Long, Thames, Wet Leg, and more. Somebody's name is Wet Leg. I know Thames because he just did a song on Beyonce's record. The show will take place on August 28th at 8 p.m. at the Prudential Center in New Jersey, with performances yet to be announced. Now, I will say this. I don't care about these awards. I don't care who's nominated. I don't care who wins. Hopefully Madonna will be there. And if she wins, because, for the Madam X album. But for the most part, I so don't care about the nominations. I mean, I do care about Lil Nas X, I like him. And, what's his name? Jack Harlow can sit on my face. But other than that, I so don't care. I just want to know who's performing. That's all I care about. So we'll see y'all on August 22nd, I believe is what I said. And that's that. So right now, let's take a little old break. We're going to come back. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about P Valley. Now, Uncle Clifford and, that last week's sex scene where he basically flooded Little Murda. Okay. We're going to talk about the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 7. We're going to talk about the whole judging panel, the overall season. Do you think it was a good idea? Apparently, there's also a story about Trinity spilling tea about Raja cussing out Michelle Visage over a critique she didn't like, which was edited out of the show. But Trinity spilled the tea. Willem spilled the tea beforehand, but Trinity really spilled the tea. We're going to come and talk about that. Also, there's a lot of Drag Race stuff we're going to talk about. Also, I got some tea, honey. I found out today. I know the list of queens that are going to be competing because All-Star 7's over. We're going to talk about the queens competing for All-Stars 8. So I got y'all. I got you covered. I know the girls is going to be on this season, so don't go away for that. Oh, hey. Also, we're going to talk about the Q. More tea came out about the Q. Apparently, they did an article. NPR did an article and interviewed not only Frankie Sharp, but he also interviewed. Oh my God, I forgot to send. We got the little murder. I forgot to send production a picture of Frankie Sharp. I'm gonna send that during the commercial break. But we're gonna talk more about that. People who worked at the place, people who still work at the place, are talking about Alan Pikus and the messiness that was going on behind the scenes at the Q. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. So don't go away. We're going to take a little gay break. We'll be right back with more of Chris Avalon Unfiltered.
Unfiltered, filtered.
I want to. A lot of girls at 57 don't care about. Excuse me, I'm gorgeous. Can I? Maybe I'll go back on TV.
think you on candy camera. Yeah, oh, I know that one, y'all. I don't know how to dance, but I know that one. Twerking on them headlights, at the red lights, twerking on them. Come on.
The thing that really gets under my skin is that she's trying to press charges against me for stabbing her for sleeping with my man. Bitch, yeah, she's in the hospital. I didn't stab her that hard. She's gonna be just perfectly fine. I didn't understand. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You're cheating on me. Get the fuck off me. You know it off of me. You ready? This hurt from she's supposed to be so you can get some pain. Now I'm gonna get across the whole cell. I'm gonna give you the same. And my fucking is in front here. I need to take a jump on. That's how I'm gonna show you how my brain is getting for. Now running around the you give me the back of all for the weekend. I'm really a show. Tag your partner. Tag your partner. Tag your partner now.
Oh, hey, we back. I was so caught up in that video. That was the open to all Vogue event. That's where that clip was from, child. So the girls went in, and no, you talking about some chop them all. That was not a chop. It wasn't. I've seen some chops, bitch. That was not it. So welcome back to the show. This is basically where we get into the LGBT portion of our show, which I call LGBT, as in we spilling the tea. So let's get right into it, because we only got like a little over 30 minutes left in the show. So I want to get to all these topics, and I really want to go in on this story about the Q. So definitely stay tuned for that. But first, child, let's talk about P-Valley. Now, so far, this show has been giving me my life. I love all the things that they've been talking about. Like, you know, this show basically represents the underdogs within the Black community, like the strippers and the queer kids, the, you know, all those people who are looked down upon and aren't seen, and they're finally getting, you know, their comeuppance. Not in a bad way, but just they're getting their due. So I just love the fact that, you know, this show basically, if you haven't seen it, it revolves around the Chucalissa, Mississippi-based The Pank strip club and those who frequent it. Now, with scenes that I would venture would say lean into the direction of a Zane novel or the writing of a Sister Soldier, creator Katori Hall and her team spin up a world filled with society underdogs who climb their way to the top of life's figurative pole through their own tenacity. So what I love about it, particularly Uncle Clifford, who runs the Pank, what I love about it is that you see this queen, this big non-binary Black woman, hunt down who well, they're a non-binary character. So when they there's a scene where Murda, who is like the closeted rapper, who has been in and out of a relationship with Clifford for the past 2 seasons, asks him in the last episode before he got his guts flooded by Uncle Clifford, basically was like, who are you? Like, what are you? Like, if you were always into wearing these clothes and walking around with a purse and stuff. He's like, yeah. But at the end of the day, it was like, well, what, like, I guess, when, you know, when people ask you, what are you? Are you a man? Are you a woman? He says, I'm just me. And at the end of the day, that's basically how we should look at people is, I'm just who I am. I'm not defined by, I shouldn't be defined by my gender. I shouldn't be defined by, oh, because I'm feminine or I'm this or I'm that this is who I'm supposed to be because it makes you feel comfortable. And I feel like because of that scene, when you see slowly that Murda, who has this whole exterior of being the masculine, rugged, rough character, that he has to be whatever the society wants. Because one of the scenes that got me, child, was like, he says, I can't be what society won't let me be. So I actually love that, you know, he says, yeah, he can't be who he truly wants to be. So society would love him for being an openly gay rapper, then he would go that route. But this is not what y'all want. This is why when you watch with when people watch the show, and I read the Twitter comments, and I be on Black Twitter, and y'all be going in, oh, we get it. We don't need to see this. Why y'all keep putting this in our face? Why you keep shoving it? Oh, so you okay with people getting raped? You're okay with a white boy beating up on an old girl with the kids and beating the kids and dislocating the arm, doing all something great. You okay with the abuse? You okay with all this other stuff going on? But the gay stuff is too much for y'all. Okay. But I love the fact that they continue to twist and change things and turn things on its head. Particularly, you have never seen no effeminate gay man top a damn butch queen. You ain't never seen that. You ain't never seen no Uncle Clifford type digging out the guts of a masculine presenting man. Never. Not on TV. Except this show. And I have to give it up to Katori, and I have to give it up to Patrick Ian Polk, who continues to push the envelope in regards to the conversation on what you think is not exactly what it is. But before we conclude, so this is why I love this damn show. Like, Sundays can never come fast. Down in the hood when the girls get naked. Okay, let's stop. It's like there's the first time, you know, the children can handle it, but sometimes you just gotta. We ain't got time to wait for y'all to be ready. You're just gonna have to just take it. So take it like a man. But anyway, let's play this clip of the actor, of Murda, talking about hate and all this other stuff. So I want y'all to watch this clip, and then we'll come back with the rest of the show. Roll the clip.
I already knew all that negativity that's been spewed out. You already know that's what come with being on a certain platform, especially when you doing something as complex as that we're doing on P-Valley. So what you do is you understand it's going to come, you stay prayed up, meditated, stay close to your loved ones, the people that's been there with you day one, since day one, and yeah, you keep rocking, you get your bread, and you know that you touching people, you know what I'm saying? With negativity comes an overwhelming amount of positivity, though. That's what people don't understand. You always gonna have negative things happen. You always gonna have people shoot out negative comments. You always gonna have little negative shit happen in your life, whatever. But majority of the time, it's positive shit. As long as you shed in that light, as long as you walk in that lane. Now, if you out here on some bullshit, if you always spewing negativity yourself, if you always out here hating on motherfuckers, or you always out here doing shit that you know you ain't supposed to be doing, then most likely the consequences and the karma and the lifestyle that comes with that is going to be that fucked.
What he said. So, so basically it was like the line in it was, so he says, so you always been like this? Clearly the question, was aimed at her not conforming to a typical gender presentation. And Clifford was like, N-word, what you mean? Like this? I mean, I don't mean no offense, but what are you? And then she goes and says, I'm Uncle Clifford. It's a simple answer, but as you know, it's powerful. So it's like I said, it's like, I am who I am, and you either accept it or don't. And Katori Hall tweeted this. Being in the closet has been a metaphor for queer folks for ages. To see Uncle Clifford ruffling through hers to give little Murda something of her own to wear allows him to finally begin healing the wounds this dismissal of her on murder night caused. The conversation of passing brings into sharp relief Lil Murda's past struggle with having his gay not be clockable due to his hypermasculine gender performance. It is a vulnerable moment as both try to define their sexual and gender identities to each other. And that's where, and Jill says, and I think, Uncle Clifford being non-binary in a world of Chuckalisa akin to being a unicorn. The way she has always traversed through this southern landscape is revolutionary and lonely all at once. And so, yeah, while it's, intriguing to see like a character like an Uncle Clifford who is revolutionary in this world, it is lonely because who can she connect with? So I love the fact of seeing like where they're coming to terms with this whole gender thing. What are you? And this, that, and the third. This is an opportunity for the hyper masculine presenting Lil Murda to let down his guard, to take off that shield that he has covering in front of him, and to really allow himself to be vulnerable and say, you know what? I'm gonna open myself. I'm gonna let you dig out my gut. So the fact of the matter, because when you bottom in our community, it is perceived as a sign of weakness or as you are passive. So us trying to move past that ideology is what I love, how shows like this, it's a masterclass on acting, number one. And number two, it's just unpacking all of the things that we've learned, unlearning a lot of the behaviors that we're taught in society by our family members, by a lot of people who don't know no better, who think they teach you some shit, but it's like unlearning a lot of those behaviors and really putting things in front of you that you're not used to. That's gonna make you uncomfortable. And I love the fact of P-Valley as a show that makes me really think. It's like a lot of food for thought, and it really makes me sit back and like really think about a lot of things even after the show is over. So shout out to Katori. Shout out to and all the people that work on the show. And I would really love to see Patrick after this show, or maybe he could do 2 shows at once. I'd like to see him try to come and really create another iconic gay show, or maybe revive Noah's Ark, because out of all the shows that's been out there, Noah's Ark was like one of my shows. Y'all revive Queer as Folk and turn that into a Bushwick version, or gentrified hot ass mess. But y'all got to some people who wasn't included, but y'all forgot to actually come up with a good damn story. You already brought back the L Word. You brought back all these other shows. I'd like to see them try to bring back Noah's Ark and see where those girls are today in regards of Black queer culture. I would love to see that show. I'm gonna have to create one of my own since I got the idea. But anyway, so let's move on and let's get into some Drag Race tea, because there's a lot of it. So as you know, the top 4 was Jinx Monsoon, Monet Exchange, Shea Coulee, and Trinity the Tuck. They qualified in the grand finale. And I should say, if you haven't seen the episode yet, cover your ears or mute, do whatever, but congratulations to my girl Jinx Monsoon, who won Queen of All Queens and walked away with the $200,000 and a... Did she get a crown? Or was it just a scepter? Anyway... Then the other 4 girls who did that, she already done had hers. They competed, and Raja wound up winning that. And I was actually happy that Raja won, because Raja was my girl the whole season. Like, I lived for Raja on the show. Like, she was giving me the fashions, bitch. Yeah, what a surprise. Everybody knew Jinx was gonna win. But I did like that the top 2, it was Jinx against Monet. And then there was a point where I thought that Monet was going to win, but I was like, you know what? Overall, it was basically about, it was the overall report card, and Jinx basically slayed the whole season. Like, she really brought it. So, congratulations to her. Yeah. So, one of the things I will have to say is, thinking about this season, I really wish there would have been more critiques. Like, even though I know, like, they said it in the article, on one hand, due to the intensive nature of the fandom, the thought process that maybe the producers didn't want to receive any of the girls to receive negative critiques that could potentially tarnish their original seasons, or why, you know, if they messed up, why then this don't make no sense. Then why did they win their season? Well, they won their season because it fit in with what was going on during that time. But then when you bring a bunch of winners together, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different type of show. It's a competition thing. So you're not above getting critiqued. So I didn't understand the whole process of that. Or maybe it was just the producers were so caught up in worrying about the fandom and letting the fandom dictate Drag Race that you took the fun out of it. I would have liked to see more critiques. It don't need to be negative. It could have just been, you know what? I love that you did this, but here's what I think you could have done to really bring it, to make this thing a little better. Like with Jada, when she messed up during, was it Snatch Game? She didn't do it good, or was it? I think it was one of the acting challenges or something. Jada didn't do so well. It's so much. Look, to be fair, I should say this. I am Drag Race out. There's so many Drag Race shows. I can't keep track of every little thing that these girls do on the show. Drag Race France is currently going. Drag Race Canada's on. Drag Race Down Under just started. We just ended All Stars 7. I got the list of girls who's gonna be on All Stars 8. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Beauty and the Beast says, I think there was no negative critiques is because the format was that no one was going to be sent home. No, I like the idea of none of the girls being sent home. I just thought that, you know what, there could have been some kind of critiques on the show. But guess what? There actually was critiques on the show. They were edited out. And according to Trinity the Tuck, the critiques got to a point where Raja actually cussed out Michelle Visage. So let me tell y'all that story. So shout out to Out Magazine for this, who said basically we could just call her Trinity the T. A RuPaul Drag Race fan attending a recent drag show hosted by Trinity the Tuck took the opportunity to ask about the long-rumored heated exchange between Raja and Michelle Visage on All Star 7. Specifically, the fan asked which episode involved this exchange between them. Unsurprisingly, Trinity didn't hold back on spilling the tea, exactly what Raja said. Trinity's full answer was filmed by an attendee that was shared on TikTok via Karen's K Journey, I think is how you say her name. The All Stars 4 winner explained, it was during the third episode, so everybody thinks that the judges didn't give negative critiques on All Stars 7. Well, they did. They did give us negative critiques. They just chose to edit that out. You know RuPaul has that song, Blame It on the Edit. Well, bitch, I'm blaming it on the fucking edit, okay? The edit was, they chose not to show any of the negative critiques, which is fine. It made everybody look great, which is great. Trinity continued. But Michelle came for Raja during episode 3, and Raja looked dead at Michelle and said, who are you to judge me? You have no credentials other than being the host's best friend. And then when we got off stage, backstage, in the workroom, and the cameras were cut, she told all the producers she should be fired. I mean, I don't know if I agree or not. I'm just saying that's what she said. So I did see the TikTok video, and basically Trinity said it. But Trinity said what she said. But also, I should say this for context. Willem had already spilled this tea on about the exchange during an episode of Race Chaser, the podcast that she has with Alaska, and fans have been talking about it for weeks on social media. However, you know, Willem has gotten some tea wrong, and that she spilled on her show. People didn't know if this was actual fact until Trinity confirmed it. So there you have it, kids. Trinity out here spilling tea. Raja getting into it with the judges. At the end of the day, the judge's job is to basically critique that they get paid for. To say that Michelle's only credentials as being RuPaul's best friend, I mean, it's a fact. It is true, but Michelle is, look, Ru always wants to do things with Michelle. They have this great rapport together. So whether or not it's nepotism or whatever the case is, Ru always feels a connection with Michelle. Like there's this ongoing, it gives him a sense of comfort. I guess she's like a security blanket, because when you work around, when you're an introvert masquerading as an extrovert, you want the person that you connect the most with to be there. That kind of gets you, because it's like, I don't see him relating to Ross Matthews and all these other people. So then you got that tea. Now, let me reveal to y'all this tea, because we got more stuff to talk about. Monet Exchange, I want to get to that, where she was getting some racist hate online, and my girl had to come in and Bob the drag queen. But before we get to that, this list is the girls who are going to be on All Stars 8. And this was actually spilled by someone who, see, there's a leak coming from inside the house. Someone who's a judge on the show. I ain't going to tell you who, but a judge from one of the drag races is out here revealing stuff they shouldn't have. So the queens competing on All Stars 8 this season is as follows. Okay, let me stop. I'm just being funny and trying to stall. Naysha Lopez, Kasha Davis, James Mansfield, Heidi N. Closet, Kahana Montrese, well, her got a whole new face, Candy Muse, Monica Beverly Hills, Lala Ree, Alexis Michelle, Darian Lake, Jessica Wilde, and Jimbo. Why is Jimbo on here? Child, I can't take her. I didn't like her when she was on her season. I didn't like when she was on Drag UK versus the World. And now they got her coming on this shit again. And I know she's going to be a judge. I don't know half of them either. I mean, no, I'm joking. I do know that. Naysha Lopez, I'm here for, you know, she hosts the Roscoe's Chicago thingy that y'all see the after show on YouTube, where she brings the queens from Drag Race on. They talk about, you know, the show and stuff. Kasha Davis, didn't she get in some controversy when she made up a whole lie about a car situation, whatever? James Mansfield, I didn't particularly, she was dry as hell on her season. Heidi N. Closet, she still kept the name. I know Rue's been trying to get her change that name for a long time. A lot of these girls didn't really last long. Candy Muse, I guess, is a time to redeem herself because I know she was not liked on her season. But I feel like she's grown and matured. We'll see when her season comes up. Monica Beverly Hills, I remember on her season, she came out as trans, but she still was like all in her head. Alexis Michelle, I know she was very sensitive about when y'all was making big girl jokes during, you know, the roasting challenge. So we got another big girl on the show, Darren Lake. We'll see if she matured from being shady on her season. Jessica Wilde, wasn't she on like season 2 with Sahara Davenport and them? And now, like I said about Jimbo, child, whatever. But yeah, so we'll see when the season airs, but the season's done. And I heard Naysha goes on first. I don't make the news, I just report it. So now, Bob the Drag Queen took to Twitter to defend Monet exchange for racist hate from so-called RuPaul's Drag Race fans. Monet Wild fans on the penultimate, what the fuck, whatever. Monet Wild the fans on the second to last episode of Drag Race All-Star 7, giving a jaw-dropping operatic performance of La Sonambula for the all-important variety show challenge. In a controversial twist, the winners of the challenge were awarded 3 legendary legend stars, upending the leaderboard and securing Monet a place in Friday's finale. The funny thing was, I felt like this was the producers pulling some shit because y'all wanted a specific group of girls in their finale. But anyway, so Bob went online and defended this because people were apparently upset and tried to accuse Monet of lip syncing, which Monet has told us many a times she went to school and studied opera. So she is an opera singer. She's actually a singer, but she's an opera singer. Saying to the people online who are hating on Monet, I just don't understand why Yahoo gotta say, I think when she went to what was y'all, why y'all gotta say racist shit? Just be a piece of garbage in private. Why you gotta let the whole world know you are morally bankrupt? If you don't understand opera, just say that. If you don't have the sophistication, understanding, and attention span to appreciate something other than kicks and splits, just admit it. Now in her defense, friend and fellow Bob the Drag Queen tweeted, okay, I already read all that. Monet also had to defend herself on social media after some accused her of lip syncing. Pre-recorded vocals, bitch, where? Live singing, bitch. To spread positivity, Bob started a Twitter thread asking people to tell them why they are on Team Monet. One fan wrote, she has given incredible performances, defied expectations, and showed grace in a queenly manner. But most of all, she gives inspiration and hope to millions of people who inspired to be at her level of artistry. Slade! And hashtag Team Monet because get on the winning team, baby. She is the goddess of all goddesses. That's what another person tweeted. And here's the thing. I love Monet. Monet is a staple in New York. She definitely gives what needs to be given. And I don't understand why people are hating on her. And it's like, y'all just don't understand. And to me, it just irritates me because people have their biases and think that drag is only supposed to be one thing. But I love the fact that RuPaul's Drag Race continues to push the envelope. She was a 6 out of 10. I mean, yeah, she really wasn't really bringing it in my opinion during the season. She definitely was hit and miss with some of her fashions. I did love some of the Banji Girl fashions that she was bringing. I did love a lot of her finale looks. She was up there with Raja in regards to the fashions. A lot of the other girls, in my opinion, wasn't really bringing it. I also like Evie and her style and her fashions. But for the most part, for people to come for her and say that she was lip syncing, it's like, Black people do sing opera. There are opera singers. There was Jessie Norman, who I believe passed away. I know she was like the biggest one of my generation. And also there was, oh my God, who was the Shakita, the drag queen, another drag queen that does opera. I remember when she did Jessie Normus, there was a drag alter ego where she would dress up in a fat suit and she would literally sing opera. So I know it's a little, thinking back on it was a little wrong, but you know, drag queens do what they do. Dummies, you said what kind of dummy thinks that you could lip sync opera? A dummy. Because they thought that literally they played a track and that Monet was going to get up there and lip sync. It's like, no, Monet actually is a professional opera singer. So you can't fix stupid, apparently. And a lot of these fans are dumb. But then I saw that, you know, Monet and Shay won the variety show Maxi Challenge, and people were upset about that. And so Monet and Shay had to clap back because they made it into the top 4. One said, "I'm sorry, but Shay Coulee and Monet do not deserve to be top 4." And went as far as tagging both of them in a tweet, ensuring they'd see this hot take. But of course, they clapped back at they tired ass, saying, "And you don't deserve a neck." A few hours later, Coulee joined the conversation with a response to Exchange's tweet saying, "Monet, that would imply that he has a neck. You say someone doesn't deserve something that they never had," which is true too. Now, the reply got over 2,100 likes on what Monet said, and Coulee's responses surpassed 1,800. Look, it is what it is. Don't give these people energy. Like, for you to sit and say they don't deserve, so who do you think deserves it? And at the end of the day, you're not a producer of the show. You're sitting at home being bitter. So yeah, they had the other 4 girls, Jada Essence Hall, Raja the Vivian, and Evie Oddly, you know, did the whole smackdown of Queen of, she already done had hers, which I already said. Raja wound up winning that one. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to all the girls. And congratulations to more future episodes of Drag Race, because it looked like we're not going to get a Drag Race going to just be not going away anytime soon, because we got more shows coming. In addition to Drag Race Down Under, the Down Under one just starting. We also got Philippines coming up in a couple of weeks, so we're gonna be Drag Race busy for a while. Funny. Let's get into this whole story about the Q, because it's a lot. Now, I talked a little bit about a couple of weeks ago when I was when I talked about my friend Michael Cook did the article over on Instinct. And I also talked about my friend David Laugh, who had to deal with some BS and stuff that was going on there, where I did get confirmation that there was sexual activity that was going on up in the club. We'll read y'all a couple of little things from the things so that way y'all get familiar with it. So now, I should say this. Before it opened, the Q did have this thing where there was a lot of promise about it. It was supposed to be a game changer in nightlife because it was like this multiple floor type of assembly. I think it has like 4 floors. It was supposed to be all inclusive and inviting to the LGBTQ community. It was in the heart of Hell's Kitchen. It was supposed to be a lot of parties going on up in there in one establishment to be catering to a lot of different styles and tastes. And now, I don't know how people thought that you was only going to be able to just cater to white people, but apparently that's what Alan Pikus wanted. So now, before it opened, you know, big names were attached to, you know, big name investors were attached to it. Billy Porter, Zachary Quinto, Charlie Carver is a investor, as well as Jake Shears from Scissor Sisters. Now, according to reports from the NPR, they also did an article, and this is where I'm pulling from. Now, the whole drama that's going on with them, representatives of Porter have declined to comment on the story, and Quinto's team did not respond. The only person I know from the investors that have responded is none other than Jake Shears, as I said, from Scissor Sisters, formerly of Scissor Sisters, now a solo artist doing his own thing. So Frankie Sharp said this. He says, I wanted to create a safe space, not in the sometimes trite sense we see the term used, but a true and sacred space for all of our queer family to feel safe enough for freedom, fun, and cathartic self-expression. I wanted to build an antidote for the Trump era. I wanted to build all of us a home. Instead, what ended up being built was far more controversial. Now, this summer, Sharp sued Bob Fluitt and Alan Pikus, the two partners he worked closely with for more than 2 years to open the club. Fluitt is the owner and architect of the successful Boxes venues of the city, and Pikus describes himself as an event producer on his LinkedIn page, and problematic, and racist, and transphobic. Should add that on his link page too. Now, the lawsuit filed in New York City's Supreme Court in June, as first reported by Instinct magazine, Sharp alleges a litany of problems at the Q. Sharp claims he was wrongfully terminated only after bringing several employees' complaints and his personal concerns, both about Pikus in particular, to Fluitt. Explicit details in the lawsuit contain allegations that Pikus created a toxic environment from the moment the club opened and freely used racist, transphobic, and generally discriminatory language. Pikus is also alleged to have engaged in public sex in the club around employees and have used his power to take advantage of young gay men who came to the queue. I've heard from various sources that sex was going on in the club from, employees. I know they had the cruising party, spelled with a Q, which I was trying to do what the cock does. Oops, maybe I should have said that. That people gonna be put onto the cock. But I was hearing stuff about that. I mean, I know that, like I said, they had their cruising party, but there was other stuff going on with the business people. These allegations are supported by additional communications between Sharp and current and former employees, as well as patrons of the club. Now, attorney for Pikus said Pikus has no comment. Now, in comments emailed to NPR, Fluitt said he was not around to manage the queue as close as he wanted to, as he was tied up in opening another two clubs, Hush and Boxers Hell's Kitchen. Well, I say HK. The funny thing was, and I remember I was talking about this because a friend of mine came up to New York last week, and I was in the middle of doing my show, so I wasn't able to kind of go out and do anything because I was doing this and I was caught up in a bunch of other stuff. And of course, I was working on stuff with Comic-Con and all that stuff the whole weekend. So he came up and he was like, I think he was in Hell's Kitchen. So, what is there to do? This and the other. And I was like, I said, I'm sure you might have heard, but don't go to the Q, don't go to Hush, and don't go to Boxers. Then I had somebody in the comments talking about, well, let's not equate Hush and Boxers and stuff like that because of one bad apple. Bob Fluitt is no different. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, and when I read this article, it basically states that Bob did not, you were aware and you knew of things that was going on in the club, but yet you sat back and just looked the other way and let Alan do whatever the hell he wanted to do up in there and take advantage and still be the disrespectful prick that he was doing and all the shenanigans that he was doing up in the club. So you clearly looked the other way and then decided to fall back on, oh, well, I'm doing all this work over here at these other clubs. I don't have time to pay attention to what's going on in here. But if you're going to be somebody who's architecturizing, that's not a word, I just made it up, 3 clubs, then you should be aware of what's going on in there. That's like me if I owned, say, a franchise, like a Shake Shack or something of that nature. If I had a multiple group of clubs and stuff going around, of course, all that's going to fall off on me because I am the overall overseer, all-knowing, person. My name is on the marquee. I'm the one who's, put this together. So yeah, it's going to look bad on me if there's a toxic work environment. So I'm not buying that. So it kind of makes me wonder now, how's he handling Hush? How's he handling Boxers? And y'all tried it, sidebar, Boxers, y'all tried it with the $15 damn drinks. Like, who buying that? I I will get lit before I go out to your establishment. It's Frank. Hey, Frankie. You know, I've been following Frankie for years. Like, I used to go to his Westgate party back in the day. That's where I met my girl, Amanda Lepore. I forgot who else was there. Patricia Field used to go to those parties. Like, you will always see famous people up at Westgate. That was my shit. That was like one of my favorite parties to go to of his. And I hear that, speaking of which, Frankie's gonna be doing a party at the Cock next month where Kevin Aviance is gonna be one of the DJs. I actually want to go on that night, but that's a Tuesday, and I gotta work the next day, so I might pop my little head in. Hopefully I don't get monkeypox, because, you know, being around them people, that shit is going around and it's rampant in New York. But anyway, back to the story. So now, so as I was saying, explicit details in the lawsuit contain allegations that Pike has created a toxic environment. For the moment the club opened and freely used racist, transphobic, and generally discriminatory language. Pike is also alleged to have engaged in public sex in the club around employees. And they said that, I trusted my producers and staff, but it turned out I spread myself a bit too thin and relied on our producers too much. This is what Fluid has said. I've always tried to empower my staff to take the lead to create great programming and amazing venues by trying to keep a low key. But still, I want to know what's going on in my own establishment. I'll keep a low key and I'll stay in the background, but you do need to know. And several individuals are saying that Fluid was not unaware of these issues, meaning he knew what was going on. He just trying to remove himself from the BS. He just seems like he's very non-confrontational. On the contrary, Sharp and other employees, both current and former, said they've complained often about Pikus. In the lawsuit, Sharp even says he showed Fluid video proof of some of Pikus's actions, alleging, this is what Sharp is alleging, that it's because he kept complaining about Pikus's actions that he was eventually pushed out of the queue and wrongfully terminated. That's where the lawsuit comes in. A lot of performers from the queue are people of trans, according to a current club employee who spoke to NPR, under the condition of anonymity out of concern for their job. After the news broke about the lawsuit, these performers were forced to choose between staying with the club they morally and ethically disagree with or losing their income. And people need to realize that in nightlife, where there's not a lot of places for people to express themselves, especially, look, there's not a lot of establishments in New York City to begin with that people of color can go to express themselves, because a lot of clubs don't even want to allow people of color to perform in there. That's why I applauded the day when Honey Davenport went and quit in front of everybody working at the Monster because of their problematic behavior, because of the discrimination she was dealing with. And what I didn't know, oh, speaking of which, you know what? There was something else I wanted to bring up earlier. You know what? I have no respect for Todrick Hall, and I meant to bring that up during the whole Kevin Aviance thing before I forget. But that bitch, apparently, because I'm bringing up Honey now, that's how I remembered. So Honey, you know, recently did a song and a video with Kevin Aviance on her EP, and she spoke to Todrick and said, oh, you should do a song with Kevin. And Todrick basically was like, I don't know her. Like, he don't know who Kevin is. Of course you don't, because you are not about this life. You want to profit off of ballroom. You want to profit off of Black queer culture, and it's questionable if your ass is even Black. And now you want to sit up here and try to benefit and profit off of ballroom and all these other things in your songs, but you don't know who Kevin Aviance is? An icon, bitch. While you're tired ass trying to become one. But anyway, and still pay your dances. Now back to this shit. So they said nightlife is basically, you know, as I said, that nightlife is a place where queens who can't, you know, who aren't feeling comfortable enough to work in a regular environment, it's a place for them to express their art. It's a place for them to feel secure and safe and express their identity and take ownership of their art and stuff. And you can't do that when you have nightclub establishments discriminating against you, especially when we're supposed to be the people that create a safe space so we don't have to deal with racism and homophobia and transphobia. But when you have people within your own community pushing that out there, it does, like, it's just baffling to me, and it's crazy how you know, you're doing all that. But yeah, this story, I'm like, damn, the 5 minutes went by that quick. But anyway, so yeah, there's so much more to the story. Definitely check out the NPR story. I'm gonna try to break this down even more because there's a whole lot to talk about. But yes, we have come to the end of the show. Alan Pikus is gone. we'll see how the Q works out their shenanigans and all of the stuff, if they're going to recuperate and make themselves a much better establishment. But yes, we're coming to the end of the show. Come back next week for a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. And until next time, ciao, darlings. This water.
Unfiltered, filtered, filtered, filtered.